Another beautiful snowfall didn't keep us from going to Dollar Tree to pick up some supplies. I'm very excited to show you how to transform some simple, plain plastic hearts into really exquisite decorations. These aren't just for Valentine's Day. You'll see as I show you, they can be decorated for any occasion. For Easter, for Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, even for Christmas tree ornaments. So I'm going to show you some fun techniques. But first, we'll go into Dollar Tree and I'll show you. These are the stickers that I'm using for this project. Dollar Tree has a beautiful assortment, not only of wall adhesives, but also stickers. You'll also want to get some plastic hearts. Now, if these are sold out at your Dollar Tree, you can order plain plastic hearts from Amazon. Also, this folk art craft chalk paint in the color cashmere works beautifully. Here I'm showing you some stickers that I also bought from Michaels. These little bunnies are part of the Crafters Square collection at Dollar Tree, as are these vintage jewels. You'll see I'm beginning by taking an alcohol wipe and just going over the plastic surface. That's just a good idea to clean any glass or plastic surface that you'd like to paint or decoupage. It's a good tip that I learned from Joan Marie Domino on her channel, in which she shows all kinds of wonderful decoupage techniques. So here you see I'm just using a pouncer brush and I'm applying 2 coats of the cashmere color. In between each coat, I'm using this little dryer. It looks like a blow dryer, but it's actually a heat gun that I purchased for about $20 on Amazon, and it does really hasten the drying process between coats. So here you can see I'm just giving it a nice drying, and don't worry if there's a little mark here or there, because the pouncer brush easily conceals that when we apply our second coat. This pouncer brush style of paint application yields a lovely result, giving a suede kind of texture to the application. Here you can see I'm just adding the second coat, again using that pouncer brush. That suede effect you'll see when it dries is really attractive, and when you look at it, you would never think it was just a simple rigid plastic heart. After the second coat, allow it to dry, or again, expedite that process with the heat gun. So here I am just drying it off, and when I get all of them painted, I'm going to snap it back together and then use the pouncer brush again just to touch up any little areas along the seam line. Going over it just one more time gives it a nice even coat. Once that's dried, I'm using some of these little self-adhesive beaded jewels that I also purchased from the Crafters Square at Dollar Tree. I really like using this decorative embellishment because you don't need any hot glue or adhesive. They simply pull off of that plastic sheet, and then you can just lay it down along the seam line of the hearts. It's so easy to outline the heart with this self-adhesive jewel, and you can just cut the strips so that they fit and go nicely all the way around the contour. You can see how quick and easy that process is. The next thing we're going to do is choose one of the pretty vintage jewels, and we'll go ahead and add that. Now, they do have a self-adhesive backing, but I use an additional drop of hot glue just to hold it in place more securely. I want to show you here what a beautiful assortment you receive for the $1.25. There's 5 per package, and they actually have like a little plastic jewel, so they're very three-dimensional, and I think they're just lovely. I think they'd be really pretty used in a variety of ways, but on these hearts, it's just a beautiful effect. Here you can see I'm just pressing the jewel into the hot glue I had applied directly to the heart. Now I'm going to add some of these little, they call them jump rings. They're little round circles that are made for jewelry. And if you adhere one of them to the top of the heart using some hot glue. It provides a nice opening for you to string some lovely ribbon through to enable you to hang your heart. You can find these at the Dollar Tree, but I bought my package at Michael's. So now what I'm doing is adding some gold paint to those beads. Since the jump ring is gold and there's a lot of antique gold on the jewel, I thought it would be a prettier complement to make this gold. So it's very easy to use a fine paintbrush and just go over each of those little beads with a dot of the gold paint. I'm using a tube of this gold paint. You could also use Rub and Buff. Here's some of the other pretty ways I've embellished these hearts. Once you learn the basic technique for this wonderful craft, you can make them in countless ways using different colored paint, different kinds of beaded or sequined trim, as well as all different kinds of embellishments. For our next project, you'll need a decorative napkin. You'll also need one of these clear plastic hearts. They sell similar at Dollar Tree, but I found these on Amazon. You'll also want to choose a napkin with a pretty pattern, as well as the Mod Podge luster and this Deco Art Americana paint in buttermilk, as well as Duraclear varnish. Some of those items can be swapped out for Dollar Tree items. Any of the acrylic paints in a soft, creamy, milky yellow will work. I'm taking now an alcohol wipe, and I'm just going to do as you should do with any plastic or glass surface that you want to decorate. Just give it a nice wiping. I'm doing it on both sides, and later I'll also do the interior of the heart. The next step is to place the plastic heart over the design of your choice. Position it so that it'll show nicely through the heart. Then you'll see I'm using this water pen to outline that border, and that will allow the napkin to tear easily. As we tear the napkin, it will also create a deckled edge. That will make it blend in nicely with the background paint that we're going to use. Keep in mind, too, that depending on your design and the color of the napkin, you'll want to choose a paint color that complements it nicely. Here you can see I'm splitting the napkin so that only the top ply is going to be used on the design. That's a very important step. You see how sheer that makes the pattern, and it lays very nicely against the back side of the heart that we have covered with the Mod Podge luster. This is a reverse Mod Podge technique, so you can see that I've laid the design so that it's upside down, facing through the front interior of the heart. Now I'm just using a little bit more of the Mod Podge luster to touch up any of those edges that are not adhered. And you can use it over the entire back side there, because that eventually will be covered. Now I'm using a piece of saran wrap to overlay, and I'm going to use a soft napkin to press down against that. That'll remove any wrinkles and give you a nice smooth surface without causing any rips or tears in that thin napkin overlay. Another very important tip to mention to you is that you want to decorate the side of the heart that fits over top. You don't want to decorate the side that has that ridged portion, because then the design could be damaged. I'm now using a little dryer. It almost looks like a little mini hair dryer, but it's a heat gun just to dry that surface. Now I'm going to apply some of our Duraclear varnish in glossy. I'm using a paintbrush to just gently apply that over that surface. That will create a barrier so that we can then use our buttermilk paint and paint over. If you just put down the paint without putting that clear varnish barrier, the paint will bleed through the other side. So we're going to go ahead and cover the entire side as you see me doing. And then again, we're going to use our heat gun to dry that before we do a second coat. The little heat gun is a clever tool that I purchased from Amazon, and it really does speed up the process of drying. Now you can see that it's dried. I'm applying that second coat of the DuraClear glossy varnish. After we get that second coat on, we'll again dry it nicely, and then we'll be ready for our final step on this side, which is to use our buttermilk paint and give 2 nice coats to the back side. Using a sponge brush is the best way to apply the acrylic paint. It gives you a very nice smooth application. After I did the first coat, I used the little heat gun to dry it, and now I'm applying a second coat with the sponge brush again, and we'll go ahead and dry that, and you'll see what a pretty difference this makes in terms of making the design really stand out. Now we'll just use our little heat gun again to give it a nice thorough drying. It's important to remember also to dry between the 2 coats of paint. Each layer should be thoroughly dry before the next layer is applied. And now you'll see we're not done yet, because I'm going to go ahead and use the alcohol wipe on the interior just to make sure it's nice and shiny clean. At this stage, you could consider yourself done, but I thought it would be pretty to decorate the back side as well. After splitting the plies apart, I'm just using that top ply to overlay on the back side of the heart. I applied some of the Mod Podge luster over that dried painted surface and simply laid down the image, this time right side up. I'm using the plastic, as you can see, along with the napkin to just really smooth that out, removing any wrinkles. And it's a great little tip when you decoupage to prevent that fragile wet napkin from tearing. And now that it's nicely adhered, we'll just remove that plastic, and then I'm going to simply tear that napkin from around those edges. That'll give us that deckled edge effect. Now you could, of course, have simply cut out your design and placed it, but I went ahead and just let the overlap remain, and then I just tore it off. You can see it blends in very nicely. For a finishing touch, I'm using some very pretty pink paint. This is Folk Art Matte Conch Shell, which I've used very sparingly on the end of this Pouncer brush. I'm just trying to create a little pink blush over that surface, around the borders especially, and then just as a kind of a highlight accent color throughout the image. Any pretty pink acrylic paint will work. And depending on the design of the napkin that you choose, whether from Dollar Tree or any of the other places where they sell these decorative napkins, you may choose a different paint combination. But this is just showing you the technique. Hopefully this gives you good inspiration for your own creative ideas. I do find Marshalls and HomeGoods have really pretty napkin selections as well. So look how sweet this looks. I am just thrilled with this project. Once we put it together, you'll see it could be a cute little gift box for a piece of jewelry or any small item, or you could simply use it decoratively in an Easter basket, or in my case, I went ahead and included it in the Dollar Tree Valentine tiered tray that I put together. I am really delighted with how this comes together and all the possible ways of decorating these hearts using different napkin designs. Now, if you don't want to use it as a little gift box, you can seal it. And I decided to just close mine off by using some of this beaded trim that I purchased at Dollar Tree to seal off that seam line. And you can see it lays beautifully. You could also use decorative sequin tape or ribbon or countless other options. But this is nice because it does self-adhere and it's very easy to apply along that seamed edge. Here you can see I'm just covering up that seam line using strips of this all the way around the contours of the heart, and it really does give it a very sparkly, finished effect. I decided to also add some little sparkly jewels that I had also from Dollar Tree that came on a self-adhesive sheet, and I just kind of scattered those throughout the background just to add a little more sparkle and shine. And here we have it. I think it's just absolutely precious as a decor piece or as a little decorative gift box. What I've shown you today are just a few of the myriad ways you can decorate plastic hearts. Decoupage techniques, painted techniques, rub-on, we'll explore in our next video. There's so many different ways you can use these, and for any occasion, I think they would be a lovely embellishment. I would love to hear your ideas in the comments below. Also, please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. Take care and God bless.